right now, you are playing a game you do not fully understand. You are following a set of rules that were taught to you by people who wanted you safe, manageable, and quiet. You were told that if you simply worked hard, played fair, and became a good person, the world would reward you. But look around. Is that really how the world works? Before you watch this video, you might be someone who feels frustrated when life does not seem fair. You might be someone who gives your power away, hoping that others will finally recognize your value. You might feel like you are constantly controlled by circumstances, by office politics, or by people who seem far more ruthless and determined than you are. But stay until the end, because by the time this video is over, your perspective will change. Everything will look different. If you watch until the very last minute, you will walk away with a completely different operating system for your life. You will stop seeing the world as you wish it was and start dominating the world as it actually is. You will learn how to turn unpredictability into a weapon, how to command respect rather than beg for love, and how to train your mind to win unapologetically, using the timeless, misunderstood genius of Niccolò Machiavelli. If you are ready to strip away the illusions and take control of your own destiny, do me a favor. Hit that like button, not only to signal to the algorithm, but also to remind yourself that you are ready to face the truth. Leave a comment below saying, "I am taking control," and make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are building a community of people who choose growth, discipline, and success, and you belong here with us. Now, let's begin your training. Chapter 1: Radical Realism, the Death of Idealism. The foundation of the Machiavellian mindset is something called radical realism. In his masterpiece, The Prince, Machiavelli wrote, "There is such a distance between how we live and how we ought to live, that he who ruins himself learns how not to be ruined." What does this mean for you? It means you must completely destroy your idealism. Idealism is the belief that people will do the right thing because it is the right thing. Idealism is the expectation that your boss will promote you just because you work the hardest. Idealism is the trap of the weak. To train yourself to win, you must become a student of human nature, not human potential. People are driven by self-interest, by fear, by ambition, and by a desire for security. When you understand this, you stop getting angry when people act selfishly. Instead, you anticipate it, you plan for it, you use it. Think about a time you were betrayed or passed over. You were likely shocked. A Machiavellian thinker is never shocked. They study the board. They know that a colleague might take credit for their work, so they strategically document their contributions and secure their alliances beforehand.
Winning begins the exact second you stop complaining about how the game should be played and start mastering the rules of the game as it is actually played. Remove the emotion. Remove the moral outrage. Look at the board clearly. What are the pieces? What are their motivations? Once you see the world coldly, you can operate within it warmly, smoothly, and victoriously.
Chapter 2: The Lion and the Fox. Machiavelli gave us one of the most powerful metaphors in the history of strategy: the lion and the fox. He wrote, "A prince must know how to use the nature of the beast to his advantage. He must choose the fox and the lion, because the lion cannot defend himself against snares, and the fox cannot defend himself against wolves." Most people try to go through life as a sheep, and they get eaten. Those who decide to fight back usually choose to be only a lion. They become aggressive, loud, forceful, and confrontational. They try to smash through every obstacle. But the lion is blind to traps. The lion can be easily manipulated by someone smarter. Others try to be only the fox. They are sneaky, clever, and avoid direct conflict. But when a wolf, a truly dominant threat, shows up, the fox is overpowered because it lacks raw strength. To win, you must train yourself to be both. You must have the fierce, undeniable power of the lion to terrify the wolves, and the sharp, calculating intellect of the fox to recognize the traps set by your enemies. In your life, this means knowing when to speak up and assert your dominance, when to ask for the raise, when to draw a hard boundary, when to look someone in the eye and say no. That is the lion. But it also means knowing when to stay quiet, when to smile, nod, and gather information, when to let a rival think they are winning right up until the moment they step into a trap they dug themselves. That is the fox. Training yourself to win means mastering this duality. Never be predictable. Let them think you are just a lion, then outsmart them. Let them think you are just a fox, then overpower them. Chapter 3. It is better to be feared than loved. This is the most famous and most misunderstood concept in Machiavelli's arsenal. When you hear "it is better to be feared than loved," you probably imagine a tyrant, a bully, someone who rules through terror. But let's translate this into the modern psychology of success. Machiavelli wasn't telling you to be a monster. He was stating a psychological fact about human loyalty. He explained that love is a bond held by obligation, which, because men are generally self-interested, is broken whenever it suits their purpose. But fear is maintained by a dread of consequences that never fails. In the modern world, fear does not mean making people terrified of physical harm. It means commanding profound, unshakable respect. It means establishing clear consequences. If you spend your life trying to be loved by everyone, being the nice guy, the people pleaser, the person who always says yes, you hand your power over to them. They will take advantage of you because breaking the bond of love costs them nothing. There are no consequences for disrespecting a people pleaser. But when you are feared, when people know that you have strict boundaries, that you do not tolerate disrespect, and that there are professional or social consequences for crossing you, they will treat you with reverence. Train yourself to stop chasing popularity. Chase respect. It is wonderful if people like you, but it is absolutely essential that they respect you. If you have to choose between a colleague liking your personality or respecting your competence and boundaries, choose respect every single time. Love is fickle. Respect is a fortress. Chapter 4. Conquering Fortuna with VIRTÚ.
Let's talk about luck. Let's talk about the uncontrollable chaos of the universe. Machiavelli called this fortuna, fortune or fate. He described fortuna as a violent, raging river. When it floods, it destroys everything in its path, tearing down trees and buildings. Most people look at the raging river of life, economic crashes, sudden job losses, bad luck, health crises, and they throw up their hands. They say, life isn't fair. It's out of my control.
But Machiavelli introduces the antidote, VIRTÚ. Now, do not confuse virtù with moral virtue. Machiavellian virtù means drive, talent, martial spirit, extreme competence, and the sheer force of human will. Machiavelli said that while fortuna is a raging river, a man of virtù builds dams and dikes during times of peace, so that when the flood inevitably comes, the water is channeled safely or its force is neutralized. How do you train yourself to win using virtù? You become violently proactive. You stop waiting for luck. You build your dams in peacetime. When you have a secure job, that is when you should be aggressively learning a new skill. When your business is booming, that is when you should be saving cash for the recession. When your health is good, that is when you train your body like an athlete. You cannot control the economy, the algorithms, or the market. But you can control your competence. You can build a mind and a skill set so robust, so undeniable, that when bad luck strikes, you don't just survive, you capitalize on the chaos. Fortuna favors the bold. It submits to those who refuse to be victims.
Chapter 5. The Appearance of Virtue. Mastering Your Image. We're going to delve into a controversial truth. You need to hear this if you want to win in a society governed by optics. Machiavelli wrote that it is not strictly necessary for a leader to have all the traditional moral qualities, like extreme mercy, blind faith, or total honesty at all times, but it is absolutely necessary to appear to have them.
Why? Because the masses judge by the eye, not by the hand. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Very few touch what you truly are. We live in a hyper-connected, image-obsessed world. Your reputation precedes you into every room. If you want to achieve massive success, you must become the absolute master of your own PR. This does not mean being a fraud. It means being profoundly strategic with what you show the world. Internally, you might be calculating, ruthless in your ambition, and hyper-competitive. But externally? Externally, you must be composed, gracious, cooperative, and calm. Never let them see you sweat. Never broadcast your insecurities or your most aggressive ambitions.
When you win, attribute it humbly to the team. When you are plotting your next massive career move, keep your mouth shut until the ink is dry. The world punishes arrogance, but rewards the appearance of humility. Train yourself to separate your inner strategist from your outer persona. Your inner mind is a war room. Your outer projection is a calm, pleasant, highly competent professional. Let people underestimate your ruthlessness. It gives you the element of surprise.
Chapter 6. Alliances and Self-Reliance. Never use mercenaries. In Renaissance Italy, Leaders frequently hired mercenary armies to fight their wars. Machiavelli vehemently opposed this. He observed that mercenaries are useless and dangerous. In peace, they despoil you. In war, they abandon you. Why? Because their only motivation is a small stipend, which is not enough to make them willing to die for you. The ultimate lesson here is about self-reliance. If you build your dream relying entirely on mercenaries, people who have no genuine stake in your success, partners who are only there for a quick paycheck, or institutions that do not care about you, you will eventually fall.
This applies to your career, your business, and your life. Do not rely entirely on one platform, one boss, or one client to feed you. If you outsource your critical thinking, your financial security, or your happiness to someone else, you are a hostage. To win, you must build your own army. What is your army?
It is your intrinsic skill set. It is your personal brand. It is your network of genuine, mutually beneficial alliances. Machiavelli taught that the only safe, certain, and enduring defenses are those that depend on yourself and your own virtù.
Stop outsourcing your power. Learn the hard skills yourself before you hire someone else to do them. Understand the finances of your business from top to bottom. Become so undeniably competent that if everything was stripped away from you tomorrow, you could rebuild it all from scratch because the value is locked inside your own mind.
Chapter 7. The Chameleonic Mind. Adapt or die. Perhaps the deepest psychological insight Machiavelli offered was the concept of adaptability. He noted that men usually fail because they refuse to change their nature. A man who has achieved success by being cautious will continue to be cautious, even when the times demand bold, aggressive action. A man who achieved success through aggression will continue to push, even when the situation demands patience. When the times change but our methods do not, we face ruin.
This is where the Machiavellian mind separates itself from the average mind. The average person attaches their ego to their methods. This is just who I am, they say. I'm a traditionalist, or I'm an innovator, or I'm a quiet worker. The winner has no such ego. The winner is a chameleon. To train yourself to win, you must develop a fluid identity. You must be willing to abandon the strategies that brought you success yesterday if they no longer fit the reality of today.
Are the markets shifting? Shift with them. Is AI changing your industry? Don't complain about it, master it before your competitors do. Does this new project require you to be a strict manager instead of a friendly collaborator? Flip the switch. You must detach your sense of self-worth from the tactics you use. Your only loyalty is to the end goal, to victory, to freedom, to success. Everything else is just a tool in the toolbox. If the hammer isn't working, you don't cry over the hammer. You pick up the scalpel.
Conclusion: the transformation. Let's look at you now. Look at the difference between the person who clicked on this video and the person you are right now, at this very second. Before, you were hoping the world would play fair. Now, you understand radical realism. You know the board. Before, you were either the victim to the wolves or trapped by the snares. Now, you are both the lion and the fox. Before, you exhausted yourself trying to be loved. Now, you command the fortress of respect. Before, you feared the rushing river of luck. Now, you are building your dams with relentless VIRTÚ.
And above all, you have shed the rigid ego of the past. You are no longer trapped by who you used to be. You have become adaptable, fluid, and completely unstoppable. Machiavelli did not write his philosophies for the weak-willed. He wrote them for those who possess the fire to lead, the fire to conquer, and the fire to build legacies that last for centuries. You are now equipped with the same psychological weaponry that built empires and shaped history. The world is not fair. It never has been. But the world is perfectly built for those who know how to play the game. It is time to take what is yours. If this video shifted your mindset, and if you can feel that change in your perspective right now, do not leave without hitting the like button. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss another strategic advantage. And drop a comment down below saying, "I am the architect of my fate." Thank you for watching. Now get out there and win.